So you think RVs and city streets don't mix? Well, think again. While it might seem daunting, navigating a big rig through the bustling metropolis can be a rewarding experience. Sure, there are challenges, but with a bit of planning and patience, you can conquer any city. Let's dive into the urban jungle with an RV. The city can be a tight squeeze, but it's doable. Driving in cities can be harrowing, but it's manageable. I come from a couple of generations of truck drivers, and big rig drivers drive in the center of every city. If they can do it with a 40-foot trailer, I can do it with a 20-foot trailer. Seattle, a city of hills and narrow streets. It might seem intimidating, but it's a great place to test your skills. We were in a trip from Vancouver, BC down to Oregon, and we wanted to drop in on the historic and famous Salume Meats and get some top meat for the trip there in downtown Seattle. You can see on the map how dense the city gets. Now the trailer we're going to take is a 2020 Ford F-150 with a long wheelbase and a 2022 Ember 191 MSL travel trailer, and all told, we're looking at around 43 feet of vehicle getting through the city. All right, we're driving across to Seattle. Of course, highway driving is a piece of cake, but city driving requires a bit more finesse. Remember, it's all about the patience and situational awareness. Heading to the city is just like any other freeway driving. If you can handle suburban freeways, you can handle city freeways. For example, we had to make a quick lane change to deal with a stopped lane. This move is not ideal, but sometimes necessary. To get to Highway 5, we needed to get to an exit on the left side of the freeway, and I was already on the right side of the freeway. Then I noticed that that lane was fully stopped, so I saw it was clear across the lanes, and I did a full cross freeway lane change. Now again, this is not my preferred method, but I saw the stopped lane and I saw the opportunity to merge. It was clear and I went for it. This is the type of situational awareness you need to maintain. Stop and go traffic, well, that's a given in cities. It's really not that challenging. But then we decided to take a more industrial route and avoid the heaviest congested and tighter roads. Now, going into the city through industrial areas often offers a more truck-friendly route with wider roads and fewer obstacles. Once we got past some of Seattle's biggest sport landmarks, we ended up in an historic neighborhood, and navigating historic neighborhoods can be tricky. This is one of Seattle's oldest neighborhoods, and that means skinny streets and scant parking. Now, narrow streets and limited parking can be a challenge, but if you go slow and steady, you're going to win the race. Taking it slow and watching the mirrors is key. Using GPS so that you can see these turns coming and get yourself into the right position is absolutely paramount. And whenever you can slow down or pull to the side and flag people by, do so. If you move a little slower than traffic, then you're going to find you can maneuver a lot better as holes are opening up in front of you. And then finally we got to Salume, so I just stopped on the road with my hazards on just long enough for my wife to jump out, and then I started circling the block. Let's face it, if you can't find parking, you can always drive in circles. And again, remember, patience is key. Now, as I go round and round the block, because, well, Salume has long lines, eventually we did encounter an obstacle. In my case, it was an armored car that all of a sudden was blocking my path. It was sticking out of the parking space right at the corner where I needed to take a tight right turn. But with a bit of creativity, slowing down with some careful maneuvering, I was able to navigate the situation. I simply went as wide as possible as I started the turn, and then I creeped forward and I watched my right mirror. As long as I could see daylight between that armored truck and my trailer, I just kept creeping forward. Eventually, the gap got narrower and narrower, and then it just stayed the same width and started to open up, and that's how I knew that I had made it clear and I could start pulling forward at a faster rate. Now, because I knew that truck was there, I decided to stall on the next street, and there was enough space for me to pull to the side, and yes, I was blocking a lane, but there was almost no traffic, and I was able to flag by anyone who was coming up on my rear end. And then eventually enough traffic would come that I would have to move forward. I'm not going to block a whole bunch of traffic. Right as I turned right, I was lucky enough that some parking showed up, and with a little curb hop, I was able to park, albeit illegally. Now, I already saw the meter maid roll through on my previous lap, so I felt like I could sit there comfortably until my wife came out. It also allowed me an opportunity to reverse my camera, which sometimes I like to point forward, and sometimes I like to point back. Finally, she joined me, and we mapped our way out of town. Now, it was really not that scary, except for maybe that armored car, and let's face it, I could have just not turned and went another block or two to loop around. The secret to city driving is to stay calm and collected. Make sure you're moving slower than all the other drivers. Most drivers are understanding and give you some extra space. Just be considerate and avoid aggressive maneuvers. And if you're in this city on vacation with your RV, just know that almost everybody else around you is probably working or commuting, and you have more time than they do. So relax and enjoy the ride. Now, I want to hear your city driving stories. Share your tips, tricks, and horror stories in the comments below. Let's learn from each other and help make urban RVing a breeze. Thanks, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe, and you can check out some of these other videos. I got travel videos over here on the side. I've got RVs Gone Wild down below. And in that corner, I've got a crazy new homeless video that's really taken off. It's almost 200,000 views already. Check it out.